Example, innocence. Isn't it wonderful, the innocence of childhood? They're innocent about everything. Well, you can be innocent. I don't care what's happened in your life. You haven't lived all there is to live in life. So what you haven't lived, re-experience as innocence. Honesty. Think of what it'd be like if you could just say what you felt. Well, start doing it. Say what you feel. I do. And it scares the hell out of people. People stay away from me. I don't want to go near him. He's going to tell me what I don't want to hear. Now, Gary, why don't we, let's be realistic, Gary. I mean, tell me what I need to hear you tell me. Now, remember, what I need to hear is not what you need to tell me. You need to tell me something honest. I can't handle honesty because no one else is honest. So let me edit it so that I can accept it. Why? Why not just gently say things as they are? We shouldn't be afraid of honesty. Children are honest. And we shouldn't tame that. Of course we have to practice social decorum, and of course we have to be sensitive with our honesty. Use honesty as a way of exciting your potential and what you're willing to share. I'd much rather be with someone who can be honest with me. As I told this man this morning, if you needed money, you should have come to me and said, I am broke, I cannot cope, I'm at the bottom of it, I need some money. Instead, you stole. Instead, you reduced all qualities that you had built. You dishonored everyone. Well, think how many times we could have been honest about things and we weren't. And we had to hold on to the lie. Remember, lies keep recycling in our mind. Honesty, you let it go. And by the way, I'm not concerned whether or not you can handle honesty. When I'm doing a radio show and I'm saying things as they are, I allow you to accept or reject it. That's your right. I must honor the sanctity of your inner being. You can say, Gary, I don't like what you're saying. It hurts. I don't want to hear it. Or, Gary, thank you. I'm not going to care either way, because I must respect that all I can do is put the energy out. You must allow other people to use it or not use it. Curiosity. Think of all the things you've tamed from being curious in your life. Wouldn't you like to go out and explore things, explore people, events, places, experiences? Well, that's curiosity. Don't tame it. Taming it, you become cynical and judgmental. You prejudge the event, so you no longer have curiosity. Well, I don't want to go do that. I already know what I'm sure I wouldn't like it. I don't want to eat that vegetable. No, don't give me that kind of food. I don't want to try that. You know, I don't want to do this. I don't want to take a quick life. 10,000 ways that you find not to allow curiosity. Curiosity is what allows us to grow and explore. Wonderment. Looking at life and being just filled with the wonderment that so much is there, instead of restricting yourself to a very narrow little range of the same repetitive actions and motions each day. Creativity. Children love to create, and why I love the childlike quality, children create without the need to gain something from it. Think if you created without having to prove anything from your creativity. I write books, but I don't allow myself to be called an author, because as an author, you're establishing that you have an identity. You're a William F. Buckley, you're an intellectual snob or something. No, writing is merely a method of communicating. So if you don't create with the need to have everybody accept what you create for the joy of creating, you're going to be creating in everything you do. You'll be able to redecorate your apartment, or you'll be able to change your workspace, or you'll be able to dress differently. I mean, look at the way we dress. So often we dress just so boring, right? There's no color. You know, and especially when we're middle class. Isn't it interesting? The only people we allow to dress differently are people that aren't accepted in society. Oh, they're artists. I mean, they can, you know. No, we should be able to have fun and be creative in all things, including cooking, everything. Adaptability. Children will adapt to any environment. We should also learn that lesson. So no matter where we're at, we can accept it. We can find pleasure and joy in it. Forgiving. Children always forgive. They can't hold a grudge. That's one of the most inspired things of childhood. They allow things to happen and say it's okay, and they forgive. Now, tomorrow morning, I want you to try, as a new beginning, to start forgiving everything. Forgive it and let it go. Happy. Watch children in the middle of a ghetto. They still find happiness. We have so much and we don't appreciate it, and we can't find happiness when we've been given every opportunity to be happy. So let's start having a happy time and feeling happy, respecting what we do have and honoring it. Energized. You're going to be energized if you find freedom. I mean, I find people who are bored because everything is repetitive and the same. You put someone in any environment with anything new, their attention is right there. Loving. Every human being has a capacity to love. And I think we should start making a point every day to show love. Sharing. We've gone through a whole decade of me, me, me. Everything for self. Isn't it time we started sharing with other people, giving something back, and sharing with others? Eagerness to learn, trusting. A child trusts everyone. Until you betray the trust, until you hurt the child, it'll trust anyone. I believe in trust. Until you show me you cannot be trusted, I will trust you. I believe we must trust. We must trust in the process of growth. Otherwise, from the background I came from in the South, I would have never trusted other cultures, other races, other beliefs, other religions. But I trust that there is good in all things if you look for it, all systems. There's positive and negative on all things. I'm going to trust that I can separate the two. Spontaneity. Oh, I'd like to do that, but gee whiz, you know, I got to prepare myself before I can do anything quickly. I mean, I'm so conditioned to judging everything. Let me worry and think, and do I want to and not. Why not just do stuff? I mean, just do it. Just have the freedom to do it. I don't ever think about what I do. I just do stuff all the time. The other night I went down, when was it, Sunday night? A friend called me who had just come from she said, a very boring party with a lot of pretentious people. She had on a formal gown, and she said, what do you want to do? She said, I'm over here. And I said, let's go down to the Bowery. So we went down to the Bowery, and as cars pulled up, we went out and washed down people's windows for an hour. It was fun. People would say, God, that looked like Gary Null. But then when they'd roll down the window, I'd give them a quarter. I'm sure all their analysts today are thinking they are absolutely psychotic. Some guy in a tuxedo washed my window and gave me a corner. Yeah, right. That was fun, you know. And let's face it, what is it you remember about the experiences you share in life? The fun and spontaneous and different things, right? You don't repeat, oh yeah, boy, let me tell you about what I did for the 10,000th time, and no, you talk about what is different and interesting and exciting. That's the child. That's the spontaneousness. You don't think about it. Look, get out of your own way, all right? Get out of your own way if you want to grow. Stop the brain. This is not a process of thinking, it's a process of living, actualizing. You're never going to figure life out. It was never meant to be figured out. Lack of inhibitions. Children will do anything, and we should have a lack of inhibitions. Dream the impossible. I love it when people tell me that what they're dreaming about, because they're always dreaming of something that seems improbable or impossible, and that's exactly what they should be dreaming about. Because if you don't dream the impossible, you'll never do the possible. You'll never make it closer to you. And it doesn't matter whether we actually achieve our dreams. It's the idea we're not afraid of them. We're not afraid of that which is in our hearts, because it gives us something. How many times have those in this audience chased a rainbow? You never found the end of it. I used to go off and run all over the place looking for the end of a rainbow. I'd be gone for a whole afternoon as a little boy. I never found it, but boy, it was wonderful the adventure. I'd get lost and didn't know where I was at, but I'd be asking people, do you know where the end of the rainbow is? And they'd say, over that way. So I'd just keep walking and down the country, and I'd walk and walk for miles and miles and miles. But the adventure was in the seeking, the dream. Let's remember to dream and follow our dreams. It doesn't matter if we get it, but live in the process of dreaming. We're too stuck on the pragmatic. We're too stuck on the impossible. We stopped dreaming, and we dried up. I see it in so many faces today, dried up. They died. They're just waiting until their biological clock finishes so they can fall down. Fearless. I believe that every person is a hero inside. Did you ever notice little children are always doing things like little heroes? They're not afraid to be a hero. Well, why don't you choose what kind of hero you want to be and what you want to be heroic about? So as of tomorrow morning, starting over, start your life as a hero tomorrow morning. Find one cause, one thing that you are going to become a hero towards. You're going to be honest, you're going to sacrifice, you're going to commit yourself to something greater than yourself. An ideal, that to become the ideal, to live the ideal, you must find the hero inside. One thing. But tomorrow morning, you start your hero's journey. No more delays, no more procrastination, no more BS about your analyst doesn't think you're ready for it. Tomorrow, you start becoming a hero. And you're a hero when you take the journey to challenge that which seems indomitable. No self-flaws. Children don't look around and just examine all their flaws. Well, I can't do this because I can't do that. I don't have. No, don't look at your flaws. Look at what works. Never helpless. Did you ever notice if a child can't do something, they'll come and ask you? We don't like to do that, men in particular. Well, what doesn't work in your life? Well, nothing. Nothing doesn't work in your life, or your life doesn't work? Well, both. Well, what are you going to do? Well, I'm not going to do anything. Why not? Well, hey, a man's got to be a man. Get rid of the ego. The ego gets in a lot of trouble. Ask for help if you need help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. Doesn't mean you're flawed. Never helpless. Children are always finding, if you gave them nothing, they would find something from nothing to make the moment work. Where someone else, no matter what you give them, it's never enough. Well, all the pieces are not here, Gary. Well, what's not here? Well, you suggested happiness and openness and trust and letting go and forgiving, but I'm sure there's something that's not here. This is not enough to start. Oh, yeah, it's more than enough. Well, I need more things. I'm helpless, and therefore I'm codependent. But I'll tell you what, I'll get in a relationship where the other person will supply me with what's missing. No. You're going to start over. You're going to have to stop being codependent. Just stop it. Don't analyze it. Just stop. Just stop. Optimistic. Nothing is going to get done if you're not optimistic. And don't victimize yourself. There's no purpose in being a victim anymore. Do you realize how much people hurt themselves? They don't have to. I want you to list your worthy qualities, because I don't think you've spent enough time focusing on them. I don't even think you realize how worthy you are. You have many worthy qualities, wonderful qualities. List them and look at them. And then each day honor them. Because what happens is, since you don't list them and you're not aware of them, you don't actualize them. You actualize someone else's qualities instead of your own. If they're cynical, you're cynical. If you were abused as a child, then you become disempowered as an adult, instead of looking at what you do, how that works. You're not inferior. Stop acting like it. Take care of your needs first. It's essential that you realize that you have needs. Don't be afraid to actualize those needs. After all, you can't go out and make it a better world until you first honor the fact that you've got to make your life work. Now, stop. Have you played today? No? Then you're still too serious. Every day should be a day of play. If you're going to work, you got to play. There must be balance in every day. And don't justify your play. Do you realize a lot of people don't play because their image? When was the last time you heard a judge playing? How can they play if they've got the black robes on and they're walking around? They can't. You've got to be able to play without care that anyone's being critical of it. What's interesting is when you go away someplace, people play away, and then they come home, they're serious again. Play wherever you're at. Playtime is every day. And get with people who like to play too. Say what you feel even if others are offended. Stop, don't bash yourself. You did okay. Whatever you did, it was okay. Don't look for perfectionism. Don't look for everything to be perfect or complete. So whatever you do, it's okay. It's enough. Pat yourself on the back. You did all right. Stop. Problems are not about blame. They're about learning and growing. We all have problems, but unless we look at the solutions, we're going to perpetuate the problems. I don't blame anyone for what goes down and what comes around. If it affects me, I put myself into play. I don't blame the other person. I simply say it's a part of life. Look, do you realize how many times in this world I wanted to meet someone to have a quality relationship, and I met him, we shared time and energy and experiences, and it didn't work. Now, if I was the average guy, I'd say, well, you've gone out with 4 women in the last 4 months, something's wrong with you if you haven't found... No, if I go out with 1,000 women, if I went out with 1,000,000 women, until I find the one that I want to spend time with, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to go out. I don't keep track. I don't keep score. And yet in our society, we make people feel irresponsible. And so what people do, they start latching on to things that don't work just because they don't want to be judged by other people, by their friends. What would happen, for instance, if a woman went out with 50 guys? Oh, yeah? Yeah. What's she doing with 50 guys? What a whore she is. And everyone would be tongue wagging at him. Well, so what? So she went out with 50 guys, but those guys didn't have what she needed. That's her right to determine what she needs. And let's face it, with as many dysfunctional people in this world, or functional people who don't share your energy or your commonalities, you have the right to continue your search. So don't put a limit on it. What am I going to say? Well, I stopped at number 12 because I didn't want anyone to think I was irresponsible and disrespectful of other people. Now I have a non-functioning relationship that's very intense and very angry, but at least I'm not looking anymore. If I've spent my whole life looking, I'll look until I find someone I can share what I want to in a friendship, relationship, anything, a job or anything else. Where I came from, you had one job and you spent your whole life in it. Do you like it? No, I don't like it. Why don't you change it? Well, how would it look? I'd be looked upon as irresponsible. So what? Who cares? Whose life is it? Yours or someone else's? That's what I'm talking about. Seek until you find, no matter where it's at. And no matter how many efforts you make, continue the search. Don't stop because you've been conditioned to stop. If it isn't right, the connection, then it doesn't fit. It doesn't mean the other person's wrong or you're wrong. It doesn't mean the job is wrong. It means it doesn't meet your real needs. So continue on. I'd much rather have someone come to work with me and say, Gary, I can't work with you in this place. Fine, no hard feelings. I don't consider that irresponsible. That person's being honest. If they had to go to 100 places and quit, better that than they work in a place that they're unhappy. And let's face it, how many people do you know are really fulfilled with their work and their work serves their inner needs? How many people? Very few. That's the compromise you make, and I believe we don't have to make those compromises. And an artificial lifestyle is what creates those artificial needs. Stop when you start hearing something that doesn't work, because you've heard it before from the same old tired negative voices. Get a different opinion from a different perspective. That means this: if you're putting your energy in one direction and you're not finding fulfillment, then change perspectives, not just directions. Let's face it. If I'm with someone and I want to go dancing and they want to do very formal dancing and I want to do dirty dancing, I'm not going to blame them, I'm not going to condemn them, I'm not going to challenge them. Instead, I'm going to find someone who wants to do dirty dancing. I'm going to match my needs with what's out there. And there's no shortage of what's out there. So you don't dirty dance, and they don't feel comfortable dancing with you because the wrong energy is being shared. When you're not honest, you're sharing the wrong energy. I can always tell when someone's holding back at anything. I can always tell intuitively. I'd rather people be what they are and who they are and find places or people to share that with than to artificially control everything so that they have a more acceptable image. That's what's not acceptable.